What up, guys? It's Gat, and I'm back with some more of this learning for y'all. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about models, giving them properties, giving them interactions, and physics, making them an actual thing instead of just sort of an image in the game, or a sprite, so to speak. I know some people have been putting together some pretty cool stuff based on the last tutorial video, so I figured I'll do this one pretty damn quick. So, like these you bump into, these ones you don't, and that's because the LODs are all fucked up. So today we're going to go over Object Builder and LODs, and it should be a little bit of fun, probably a lot of boredom, but hey, if you're interested in the information, then I'm going to try and get it to you. So let's get this done. Making stuff with Gaddington. Okay, so we want to start at the model level. We got our model. We have whatever it is we're working on. In this case, for me, it's a vending machine. We want to make a basic shape that encapsulates it for the most part. Doesn't have to be perfect, but pretty much just represents its overall shape and general mass. We want to make sure that this shape here is as basic as possible, and it has to be non-convex, which is a really weird way to refer to something, but the idea behind non-convexity is that the internal angles can't be over 180 degrees. None of the internal angles can be larger than 180 degrees. So we'll make it an Arma object. This, all the internal angles are 90 degrees because it's a rectangle, and because Blender's good at making pieces like that. We're going to make sure we take it. We're going to save the location, rotation in the scale, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab just the box that we just made, just that, and we're going to export that. Let's see, what am I doing right now? V2 geometry, yeah. That's pretty much all we need to do at this point in Blender. You make your object, then you make a very base representation of it for your LODs. So in Object Builder, we're going to open up Gat Snacks. This is it's hard to see anything in Object Builder, and I know that, but this is the model of the second snack machine that doesn't work. And there's going to be a few problems with it. One, the textures aren't linked correctly, so let's get that fixed first of all. Two, it doesn't have geometry LODs or any other sort of LODs. LODs, levels of detail, could also be thought of as layers of detail because it acts like layers. Alright, so I just opened up V2 geometry. This is that basic shape that we made and exported to P3D. We're just going to Control C it and grab it, and we can leave that. We're going to come over here. We're going to make a new LOD or layer of detail, and we're going to double click on it. Now look, it's different. All the layers are different. We're going to add that into that layer. I want to make sure that those two layers kind of overlap each other the way that they did in Blender, and they do quite nicely. So that works out great. So this is going to be our geometry LOD because it's convex. The way you can, or it's concave. That one still confuses me. But the way you can tell it's non-convex or is come over here, go to convexity, find non-convexities. If there's any red parts whatsoever on most models, especially if they have extrusions that go inwards, or any sort of cuts, or any sort of internal geometry that results in angles larger than 180 degrees from the inside of the model, then when you come over here and go to boom, it'll give you a bunch of red points. Those red points means that this model, this shape, is non-convex. But over here, what we've made is made a nice convex shape that is looking good. No red dots. So cool. That's our geometry LOD. Now we're gonna come over here. We're gonna highlight it again, and we're gonna give it a mass, 100 kilograms, because it's a big thing. We're gonna use as usual, I almost forgot to find components. Find them. There's just going to be one because it's a single non-convex thing. We're going to make a geometry phys LOD. Okay. Geometry is walking units. So can you walk through it? Geometry phys is driving units. Can you drive through it? We're also going to duplicate it again. Geometry phys old. This is for vehicles that have been carried forward since Arma 2, basically. And it still is relevant. I've come across it, surprisingly, and even though you wouldn't really think you would come across it that much, it happens. Land contact, that's just where the points on it will, oh, look at that, land contact, I copied the wrong one. Let's duplicate that one, there we go. Land contact is what will make contact with the ground. So in this case, we want the whole thing to act like just a big box, so it'll all make contact with the ground, no problem. Land contact is a little more relevant for things like cars, but pretty much anything that's going to sit on the ground and that can be knocked over sort of thing is going to need a land contact. LOD. Keeping basic shapes means everything simpler, means your model loads a lot faster. Okay. Next, we're going to make a fire geometry LOD. Now, notice these are all just a cube. Now, that's because I'm working with a real simple thing, but in this case, we just want it to hit the cube. So fire geometry as well. Fire geometry is where the bullets hit. So we got, can I walk through it? Can I drive through it? Can I drive through it? Where do the bullets hit? Where does it hit the ground? Not doing too bad so far. All right. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a memory LOD on it. Properties, memory. This is a brand new LOD. All right. And the way this one works is we're going to check our res LOD. We're going to go to memory and we're going to insert. We're going to hit insert to make a point. I'm going to make 2 points because I have 2 things that I want to happen on this machine. So double check by clicking back and forth to see if those points are in a place that makes sense. So that second one is a little bit out there. Yeah, that's better. Still a little bit far because we want it to be like in the thing. That'll work. Okay, those 2 points are our memory LODs. What we're gonna do is find components. Boom, there we go. And immediately rename them to mem01. Whoops. And memo2. The only place that Arma requires a naming convention with regards to the layers of detail or LODs is in the geometry. Your components must be named component 01 through component 99. That's just a restriction of the hard coding. You have 99 units in a P3D model. You can stack different P3D models in different way if you need to go over that limit, but that's how much you have in a single P3D. 99 is what it'll read. So they have to be named that. But your res LOD, you can name it whatever you want. And you can name it, I usually name them pretty simply, you know, res01, memo1, memo2, you know. But these points give us our interaction points for where actions will show up on the model. So let's see. We got our textures loading all nice. Okay, that's good. We got geometry. We got our memory LODs. We got land contact. We got fire geometry. This sucker's ready to go. So we'll go ahead, we'll save it. I'm going to pack it. And we're going to test it. Booyaka. Look at that. Buy a bag of chips. shoot it up. Oh, that's all I got. Well, you can shoot it up. You can interact with it. There's these are some scripts I wrote before that I'll wave my hands at. You can make it do stuff. You can make it make noises. And that's what the LODs do. The LODs give it a texture. They give it physics. They give it interactive qualities. And we should hit it with a car. Well, we can change that because we're going to go to the config and we're going to do some handshaking. Some arm waving. Alright, class, config sounds. Ignore all that about the faction classes. You don't need to do that. Config the sounds. This is the dispensing noise that we've put together over here in SoundForge. That's our dispensing noise. And then we have a vending alarm, which I'm just going to play you the last bit of because, you know, you don't need to hear too much to get the idea behind it. But there you go. Those are the sounds that we're going to be incorporating into this mod. So we got dispensing sound, vending alarm. You just have to declare that they're there so that they initialize with the mod and Arma knows they can get at them. Okay, onto the meat. We're making a strategic vehicle. So configure the vehicle, strategic. We're making ice cold drinks over here. The one that we are currently working on is Revo Snacks here. And I'm wondering, I think we might need to just make it a lot lighter. Let's make Revo Snacks real light real quick. So we would do that by going into geometry. Oh, it's 250. Let's do it like 20. Let's see what happens if we give it like 20. Save that bad boy. So we have our strategic vehicle, Revo Snacks. This is where we define the model and everything. It's a public unit, so everybody can see it. Revo Snacks.p3d, that's the model that we've been working on. Placement vertical, always place it vertical. Display name, this is what you'll find it by in the editor. Vehicle class and faction, again, ignore that. You don't need that. Cost is if you were going to buy it in a market, and armor is how much damage it can take. And I'm going to buff that up a bunch. Okay. Next, we're going to define the user actions. This is going to be defined in the actual class for the vehicle as well. We're going to be doing buy Coke. These names are totally irrelevant. You'll never really reference them again, but you got to name it something. Here's buying the Revo Snacks candy bar. This is what will show up when somebody's close enough. This is where we define the memory LOD. Remember, we made those two memory points, one at the front, one at the back of the machine. 01 was at the front of the machine. So at the front of the machine, you'll be doing this action, and you have to be at least 2 meters away from it or close to it, or you won't be able to access the action. It's only for player. Nope, it's for everybody. Condition, alive this. This is just to say the condition could be a lot of different things. It could be you having something in your inventory. It could be you having completed some other thing and a variable being set. This could be a lot of things, but in this case, we're just going to say, does, am I active? Am I alive? Basically, has my armor threshold been exceeded yet? And if yes, it's in good condition, then cool, we can go ahead and execute the buy candy script. Or more than that, this will not appear in the drop-down list if the thing is destroyed. So we can demonstrate that. And then rob the vendor. This is breaking into the machine from the back. This happens at that back memory point. You got to be close to it. You know, I think I'm going to make it even closer than that. And same situation. Let's take a look at the rob vendor script. Rob vendor is basically the alarm goes off. We start our counter. We take the position of the player at that moment. While we count to 9, we sleep for 5 seconds. We give them a notice saying, hey, we're just kind of, you're doing it. You're messing around with the thing. You're messing around with the vending machine. Then it checks. If they've moved more than 2 meters away, then it tells, oh, you've given up. Quitters never win, and it stops attempting to break in and get a Coke. If they make it through 8 cycles of this, then they get a Coke. You know what I mean? But during that time, the vending alarm is going to be playing, and everybody can hear that. So then you're going to iterate, go back through, go back through, go back through. That's just a basic while loop. If you're familiar with coding, then this syntax is not, it's not sexy, but it's Arma and it works. Same kind of thing for buy the Coke. It'll make the dispensing sound. It'll sleep for the length of the dispensing sound. Oops, I shouldn't have done that. And then it'll go ahead and give them a Coke. You know, and candy bar works the same way. Dispensing sound gives a candy bar instead. So the config is relatively easy, and you just link your scripts that you want on your actions to turn it into an interactive object, into something that actually does something. And then, of course, we go through, and we've done this for all 4, the snack machine, the 2 snack machines, the ice cold drinks machine, and the sodas machine. So we've got the 4 vending machines. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to make magazines. We made magazines before for the pie. And these are going to be the Coke, the soda, the candy bar, and the chips, which are dispensed at each of the machines. Obviously, I've already made all this crap, so you're not going to watch me do that in particular. I wouldn't put you through that. But that's what it's serving up here, is these class names. And boom, that's the config for the mod. So at that point, basically what you're looking at is you got your files, you got your icons, which is what shows up in the inventory. You got your objects, which is all of the P3Ds you need. These are the candy bars. These are the actual machines. And I tried to go to a different naming convention for the 2 just to keep them broken up, to keep them straight. The scripts to do the different things, to rob the vending machines and all that stuff. The sounds, we got our dispensing and our vending alarm. The textures, of course, because you have to texture everything. So we have 8 textures for the 8 items that we're adding. And your config. These are throwaway items that we've just had here. These were the geometry LODs that we built from scratch. And we won't be needing those again now that those have been loaded into the actual P3Ds. So at this point, we pack it and we test it. Okay, yeah, and after all that, we're gonna buy a bag of chips. Like I said, it makes the noise. Drops Olgatch jalapeno sour cream. Drops that good shit is what it drops. Look at that, we got a bag of chips. Revitos. We didn't even shoot up the front of the damn thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break it, and I'm going to go and just run through the last one real fast so that you can just watch what I do. And I'm not going to talk too much. And that should clarify it. If you have any questions, of course, ask them in the comments. Okay, so last one we were doing was bottle drinks. Big reason to do fire geometry here is that it just makes it something people can hide behind. It'll intercept the bullets, and you know, it's that's kind of a big point of it, is it's meant to be a prop around people, which people can shoot or hide, whatever it is they're doing, you know. Nope, that's too many. To take the memory LOD, from one of the ones we've already done, because that way you get the components and everything. That's running through it light speed basically. And now we pack it and we test it, and we should be good to go on all 4 of them. And there we go. Bunch of working, interactive vending machines that you can even blast up if you want.